On this week of the Seriousness Podcast, we're talking about our favorite horror video games. My name's Andrew Stoke, and I'm one part of the Seriousness Podcast.
I'm Spakashi Hakake, otherwise known as Casual J, and I'm the other half.
All right, so on the week that was, for what we played or listened to, all last week, I'm bringing Teardrops from Bring Me the Horizon. Bring Me the Horizon has sucked for quite a while now, and I'm glad that they're actually finally kind of coming back to who they were, and a little more screamy screams in there, and definitely hitting a little harder than the kind of like girly stuff that they were making. But I'm kind of looking to see what you thought of it.
So, I liked it. I think it was a pretty good song. I'm not the biggest Bring Me the Horizon fan there is. I've listened. I think like my favorite two songs by them are Mantra and Throne. But I mean, it was a pretty decent song. I liked it. I can't wait to hear it get played to death on the radio while at work. But I could hear a little bit of Linkin Park inspiration in there.
Well, for I guess a little context that you don't know them that much, they came out like a long time ago, and when they were first out, they were very much the like raw XD like fanboy kind of thing. But it was really hard. Like it was like just screaming constantly, just like everything, and him just really killing it. And then I think he kind of just lost his voice over time, so that's why they kind of like backed up all of that. And they were still like pretty good albums, like going out a little while, like a couple years afterwards. But then he stopped really screaming, or even them kind of playing that hard of like music and stuff to them to play to. But I think it's getting a little like I'm definitely liking the sound from this new album that's coming out.
I like Teardrops. I thought that was pretty good. I like the chord. I like the ending.
Yeah,
that's definitely the best part of the song. The build up, the cut off, the return. I'm a sucker for that type of shit.
Yeah.
Any rock song that has it, even if the song itself is shit, I'm just like, I love it. That's my favorite part. It's great. It's good. Greatest song of all time. Put it out there. But I mean, it was decent overall. Something I might, listen to. I'll put it on occasionally. Still kind of place those prior mentioned two. I'd say those two are a little bit better than it still.
Yeah. And like, there's definitely other songs that I like from Bring Me the Horizon a lot more than what we listened to with Teardrops. It's got a cool sound. It's just I am definitely a product of my time, and I used to go to like a show a week when like metalcore and stuff was like huge, so that's what I just want to go back to. And I know some bands can't, like if Ollie Sykes can't scream that way or anything anymore, then it's just not possible. But that's what I look for. I'm like really just I want that grittiness and like the really like big chuggy kind of like music, so that's just what I go for.
The only thing I have to say, I don't even think it's a criticism, but the name, not digging it, simply because I just think of I don't remember the movie. Teardrops are falling out of my eyes. You don't remember me and DJ singing that 24/7 at work?
I guess Teardrops, I think more of like, teardrops keep falling on my head. Whatever, something like that. or what's that band that was like really heavy in like the emo-y kind of music back in the day, and they're just like teardrops fall, they crash around me.
I don't know that one.
I don't know. Well, yeah, whatever.
But you guys can judge which of us is the better singer. It's definitely me. Just gonna put that out there.
Hey, I had crappy songs ago.
I hit the notes.
We'll balance this. have to battle this out some other time.
Definitely hit them notes. So.
And then the other song I want to talk about is My Disaster 2.0 from Silverstein. I guess during COVID, they've been, like, since they kind of, with their newest album, which I can't remember the name of, which also I've noticed from editing the podcasts.
We don't remember the name of anything.
Anything.
And we should probably look into the things that we want to talk
before
about.
we go into it, because I love the things that I hear repeated the most in the podcast is, man, I can't remember what that person's name is. And then also, I could be wrong.
I feel like third place is definitely me just going, and I like, this is the thing I like.
But Silverstein kind of changed up their style with their newest album. And so now, since they've had extra time, because basically, in my opinion, if your favorite band isn't making some kind of new music right now because they can't go anywhere to tour or anything, if they're not making new music, they don't care. So Silverstein is making new music, but they're actually just using their new style to go back to old songs, which I think is really cool.
I just want to cut you off real quick and just say you're wrong.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
It took Tool how long to make a new album?
Yeah.
They deserve a break.
Yeah.
5-year break minimum.
Yeah.
And then they can get back to making another one.
10 years that it took them to put out that one album. So, yeah.
They've earned their break, okay? Anyways, back to Silverstein. Definitely.
Is it Stein or Steen?
I don't know. I'm just doing this to dick with you.
Berenstein Bears universe thing.
I'm just being a dick and saying whatever you don't say. Again, they're actually a band I've listened to.
Yeah.
And I actually, My Disaster is one I actually know.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to the original, and I do like the new version. Might be my nostalgia speaking, because you know it's one of the ones I grew up on a little bit more than this. So I'm like, I'm inclined to say I like the old one better. Mm-hmm. But I do think that the new one sounds damn good. I'm actually a fan. Mm-hmm. I might actually just go around with both songs on my fucking phone.
Yeah. I think I actually do right now. And my Spotify playlist just has like both of those songs in there. So yeah, either one comes up, I'm still gonna have a good time with it, I think.
I'm actually gonna go home and look into more of their albums, see if they have a couple of my favorite songs redone. Was it Burning Hearts, Born Dead? There's a third one that I can't think of. It's off the top of my head. Just proved I'm a better rapper than you in that instance as well.
Oh, yeah. That's how rapping works?
Yeah.
Remembering names?
Yeah.
Freestyle?
No. Dead and Head, they rhyme.
Oh.
Yeah.
There we go.
Greatest lyricist of all time.
Yep. Though I think most new rappers, all you have to do is like rhyme fuck with fuck, and you're probably just golden. So
you want to give your thoughts on Silverstein?
Oh yeah, I actually like their new album. I've been just constantly listening to it, just going it over and over again. So I really like the new album. So I'm actually hugely in favor of them kind of going back and revisiting stuff. So because they've existed forever. This is like their 8th album or something like that. Like, it's insane. So if they want to go back and be like, hey, you know what? We've recognized we've changed some stuff up. I think they've kind of gone away a little bit more from like the screamo or like emo side of things, and then picked up the pace. It's more of like a pop punky kind of thing. So it's like really got those like kind of like drums and stuff like in there. It's just like this constant like building pace and stuff like that to it. And I think I'm even into that more now. Like it just gives me a little bit more like of that like, I don't know, energy and stuff, instead of just being like, oh, I'm sad. So yeah, I'm definitely happy with it.
Speaking of sadness, I've decided to show you Penelope Scott's Cigarette Ahego.
Yeah. Which, yeah. A brilliant Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss song right there.
I don't think I have the proper words to describe it other than the exact feeling that me and every other college student feels during a breakdown. Is existential dread and a midlife crisis wrapped up in fucking nerd shit.
Yeah.
And current internet culture.
And you might as well just have sex is kind of the
well,
the
especially
point of the
if
song.
you're an incel. Incels just have
Yeah.
sex. Which I find that offensive as an incel myself. Expert in inceldom.
Yeah.
I find that highly offensive. It's illegal and impossible.
Oh, okay.
It also leads into my crippling nihilism.
So, I don't know if you have anything else to say about Cigarette Hago, but
I mean, honestly, after what I just said, it's probably just going to spiral down into how much I hate women.
I do love the ooh woos the whole entire time. I think every song needs that now. I don't know why Teardrops or My Disaster 2.0 don't have ooh woos in them, but
I'm actually going to be working on not an album, what is it? Mixtape. There we go.
Okay.
I'm gonna be working on a mixtape soon. And,
EP,
yeah. And my ad-lib of preference is going to be uwu and umu. Show off how hard I am.
Yeah. All right. And then, since, we already talked about the weird sexualization of Pokemon, I'm into the new Pokemons because I've been playing the Crowned Tundra, which is actually kind of cool. The last DLC was a little disappointing. It kind of goes super fast, but with Crowned Tundra, it's just been kind of like crazy. The characters are like super fun. Like even the Pokemon like make jokes. Like the main Pokemon is this deer kind of thing that has like this giant head, but at one point they're like kind of explaining something like to him because he can actually do like the Mewtwo thing where he like possesses a human and talks through them, and then you tell him something that's shocking and he goes like huh! And it's like does that anime like shrink down the pupils thing and everything, and I'm like, I'm glad you're actually like joking around more with this. And like the dad is definitely like there's a I guess the premise for like the new thing is you make it to the Crowned Tundra. There's this dad and his daughter like arguing and kind of like fighting, and it's because the daughter wants to go out and explore and do her own thing and check out these new like max raid labyrinths or something they call them, which those are actually super fun, but she doesn't want to do it, so you get basically kicked off to the dad, and the dad is kind of like a mix between like Mike Guy and because he's just like super energetic and he's just like, oh yeah, and you have the power like to be able to do this, and he's like so up there, but he also is like an explorer that has all these notes, but you are figuring everything out and he couldn't do it for like years, so it's hilarious. And then he kind of also, because he's just so crazy over his daughter, that he kind of reminds me of I can't remember his name. It's like
Spirit from Soul Eater?
No. Well, I guess, yeah, that would work too. But I was thinking more like the guy that gets killed in Full Metal Alchemist, that like just loves his kids and has to like talk about his kids all the time.
Oh, Maze Hughes.
Yeah, Mace Hughes. Yeah, and because he's just like all the time, even though his daughter's like, Dad, you're annoying me. Leave me alone. He's just like, man, that girl, she's just so great. Like, I love her. And you're like, yeah, that's hilarious. And because you could even, like, at least they make even, like, the answers back, like, kind of humorous, too. Like, you can be like, I'm pretty sure your daughter's, like, a jerk. And he's just like, no. Like, she's the greatest daughter in the world. And you're just like, yeah, I don't know about that. So,
all right, so, Andy, I want you to stop boring us with the dull stuff.
Yeah.
And get to the good stuff. Which of the new Pokemon would you fuck?
Well, I don't know. I haven't met them all, but some of the new birds are pretty sick. The Zapdos got a remake, and he looks like a Chocobo. I'm not saying I want to fuck a Chocobo, but at least it's cool looking. And then people will be like, "Oh, really? That? Like, yeah. Like, isn't he cool looking? Like."
I actually dig Zapdos' new design.
Yeah.
I like Moltres' Moltres, the best, I think.
Yeah, because it's like that dark, like black with like the maroonish
Fuchsia.
flames and stuff like that.
You
Yeah, it's
think
so
that's
sick.
maroon? I think that's more of a fuchsia color.
Whatever. It's if you like combine my shirt with your shirt, it's that color.
Okay. I don't think that makes fuchsia, but we will go with that.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Articuno got screwed over, though. That nigga looked dumb.
I don't know, but he's like, the first time you see him show up, like, you go to this big tree, and all three of them kind of, like, come up and, like, start fighting each other, and Articuno just, like, raises up in the air and just has this gigantic beam that just blasts out of its face, like, towards the ground, and you're like, oh, dang! Like, that's actually pretty sick, so I was...
Still wouldn't stick my dick in it.
Yeah, oh, okay, well, yeah.
Zapdos, on the other hand, looking kind of thick as a Roadrunner.
Mm-hmm. And then, I don't know, if you were a brony, maybe you want the new horses. There's 2 legendary horses that the weird deer thing actually goes on. Definitely kind of like a weird new thing, but it fits that character. He's supposed to be like a king, basically, of that area. Like the little deer guy. So it's like, my steed, like I need that. And so it's kind of cool that he has like a whole persona to him, that he's like this king that needs his royal steed and everything.
Kind of looked dumb though.
Not the deer steed, guy or the steeds?
The deer.
Yeah, but like I at least like that he's kind of like not really bumbling because he seems powerful, but they give him more of like a funny sense to him. Like it's not like you're super intimidated by like this being Mewtwo or something like that. He's kind of like, he recognizes you as like a good trainer, and then he's just like, yeah, like we could be friends, and hey, can you help me out with certain stuff to like regain my power? So I more like, I think, him as a character, which is kind of weird for a Pokemon, instead of his design. It's like definitely the first time I've seen that more as a thing.
So you want to stop talking about that king and start talking about new Galarian Slowking? Have you got to him yet?
I haven't caught him yet, because I don't even know how to make him. Because apparently you got to use something new, because it's not the same as like the Galarian Twigs. You get like the Slowbro with like the gun arm. I don't know what his new item is to change him over, but I think he looks cool.
I think he looks stupid.
What? He's got like this cool, like weird face thing, and
you know, it would look cool if the shoulder didn't have those weird, sassy, generic anime eyes directly on the fucking front.
It's always had those dumb-looking eyes on it, though.
Yeah, but
kind of have to deal with it.
It looks stupid where it's at now. I feel like, if you would have just took away Shoulder's eyes completely, it would look cool. It looked fine. I mean, I know original Slowking has a little fucking capelet on, but kind of looking like an edgelord in this one. Just gonna say, I kind of like its new typing, though. I do like the fact that it's poison.
Yeah. Well, and even the other, like the Slowbro was poison too.
I didn't know that. Oh yeah, it makes sense though, considering.
Yeah, he's got like some kind of gunshot thing that's poison type too.
Glick glap.
Yeah.
Is its Pokemon? You know how they get, each one has like its own unique sound. Is it's just a gun cocking?
Yeah. He actually, every single time he used the move, he goes brap brap.
I wish that was genuinely true. I'd go out and buy that game this very moment.
Yeah.
If that's really what happened.
Yeah, I'm definitely enjoying it. I've also kind of like weirdly gamed out one, because I had 2 games that I had a sword version and a shield version that I've already beaten, but since I have a lite as well, you can use the same account and play like those characters. And so I started new games on those, and so I found a way to like kind of game the system. So the first DLC that came out, the something Iron Isle of Armor, that it doesn't have any kind of like level restriction or anything. It's just kind of, you can jump in at any time, and it kind of scales to what your current level is. But with the Crowned Tundra, the dad that you talk to like right away, you have to beat him, and he's got 2 Pokemon that are like level 70. So I jumped in though to try to still do it because I didn't know this yet. I didn't know that they stayed that level. I already beat it with one of my people that I've already beaten the game. So I jumped in it with that, and I was like, oh, I can just probably start this any time, like the Isle of Armor. But no, he had level 70 Pokemon, and I had just 6 Pokemon that were like level 30. And I just grinded my way to beating him. Like, I found out how to do it. So I beat him, and then what's cool is, like, basically any Pokemon that you catch, you can overlevel them past what, like, your gym level is. So when I went to the area where these new, like, labyrinths are, that at the end of each labyrinth is a legendary Pokemon, and they're always level 70. But the thing is you don't use your own Pokemon to go through these labyrinths. You use, like, Pokemon that are rented out, and that's how you do it. So I beat those, caught level 70, like, legendaries, like, a crap ton of them, because I just kept doing it. So then I entered back into the regular game to beat the gym leaders, and I just have a stacked team of level 70 like legendary Pokemon to re-go after these, like, gym leaders, and I'm just like, you suck. It's
I
like,
think
oh,
you're just a dick.
yeah, well, because then they're like, some of the gym leaders are like cocky, and you're like, oh, well, you have to deal with my ice Pokemon or whatever, and then I'm just like, no, here's Zygrade. Like, like, yeah, that doesn't matter. But okay. So you are still continuing on your, like, weird
Journey
going back
MCU.
through the MCU.
I am. So we were a little confused because every list we came across for it, they switched Thor and the Incredible Hulk around, and some say it was Thor comes before it, some say Thor comes after the Hulk, and we couldn't really figure it out. But turns out it doesn't matter because Disney Plus doesn't have the Incredible Hulk on it, and neither does Netflix, and we didn't care too much to really search up the movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't super great to begin with. It was kind of decent from what I remember, I guess.
Yeah,
I haven't watched
like,
it in several years, but...
what's the actor that's in the Incredible Hulk movie?
That guy?
Yeah, that guy. He's pretty great, and I like that actor.
Edward Norton, I think, right?
Yeah, Edward Norton.
See?
And I think I like Edward Norton better than I do Mark Ruffalo, but I've grown to love Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk.
I was about to say, I actually like Mark Ruffalo as
like,
Hulk.
I like him. I'm not saying I don't like him, but I think Edward Norton is technically a better actor than Mark Ruffalo.
Well, he was in a shittier movie than Mark, so... Anyways, skipping over to the next shitty movie, it's Thor, and, you know, rewatching it, it wasn't as boring as I remembered it to be. It was still not super duper fun. I don't know, Chris Hemsworth looked really weird as Thor in the original, and I really want to say it's just because his outfit didn't look like actual clothes. It looked like a fucking cosplay prop, and he stood out. I think it looked a little too clean at times, and
well, also, if you look back at those old shots, for some reason they dye his eyebrows too.
Okay, I was going to get to that, and
that's the weirdest thing. Like, you can tell I'm a very much of a red bearded man, but my eyebrows are brown. And, well, I don't have any hair, but it was brown. I basically had, like, black eyebrows and a red beard. Most people do have kind of, like, mixy colors of their hair. So when you do, like, a super fake, like, version of that, and you're just like, oh no, this guy's a god, so he's got to look a little bit more. And then when they're like, let's tone this back and make him look more like a real human being, then it doesn't hit that, like, weird uncanny valley, like, maybe he kind of doesn't look human.
Because, well, I was watching the entire movie, and I don't know, I know what Chris Hemsworth looks like. I know he has eyebrows, and I was sitting there watching the fucking movie like, why is it why does it look like he doesn't have fucking eyebrows? Why are his eyebrows this fucking blonde? Is he Brock Lesnar? What the fuck is going on? I can't. It was distracting. It was annoying. I almost quit the movie because of it. But, you know, another thing I really didn't notice, Thor fucking snarls and growls and makes a fucking shit ton of beastly noises. Way more than I fucking remember him ever doing during, like, the initial launch of the MCU movies.
They try to make him like Conan the Barbarian, like the old Arnold Schwarzenegger, when he's just like... and...
like, I remember the scenes of fucking, you know, him like, this tastes good, smash his mug, another!
Yeah.
And all his weird, Norse proclivities or whatever you want to call it. But my God, there are so many scenes where he gets angry and he's just like, and like, we were watching it with captions, so it's like, even the captions just read, roar, snarls, growls, and I'm just like, God, this happens a lot more than I fucking remember. A couple of scenes, I'm like, I could understand you doing that. Yeah, whatever. You're angry. Grar. Get mad. But he does it a lot. Another thing I noticed, I gave Captain Marvel crap about this, and I never gave Thor crap about it, primarily because I forgot about the movie in general. Yeah. But there's a scene in the beginning when Thor goes to Jotunheim to fight the ice giants, and one of them gets in his face and it goes roar, and Thor looks back unafraid and just goes roar right back. And it's the same scene. There's one in Captain Marvel with the Skrulls, and fucking Thor came out beforehand. It wasn't funny in Thor. Why the fuck did you put it in Captain Marvel? Like, I watched that scene in the fucking Thor movie and I was embarrassed. I felt bad for Hemsworth. Like, oh, that was so stupid. I hated it, and I think it made me hate a little bit of Thor.
Well, I also think that Thor movie definitely, like, even as you go through, I think you notice probably a lot of these aren't as good as the ones that we've got, like, much recently.
Oh, yeah. I've noticed.
They just didn't learn. Like, they were still making them too cartoony feeling instead of just making them, like, not like, it doesn't have to be, like, super realistic, but it's more just, like, these feel like real people. And also, like, because even Thor Ragnarok is a complete turnaround from, like, I think they even all kind of learned more from Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, Guardians really made this, like, just normal people being super kind of thing happen. And you get more of, like, how they act, how they talk, and just, like, the way, even if you had superpowers, you would still just, like, joke around and, like, talk with people. Because it's not like Thor, they kind of wrote it in a way to be like, he's never met people before. And you're like, well, clearly, if even people die and go to Valhalla, he's talked to people that, like, aren't just all, like, ye, thee, thou, like, so once you made him actually more, like, he still has the accent, he still kind of talks a little goofy, but he more knows how to joke and knows how to, like, actually express himself like a normal person. I think you can tell that they are like, let's break down this, like, super strict way that he has to act.
I can agree with that, but I do find his antics of weird Norsery in modern day Earth to actually be kind of amusing. It was really funny, provided me with great moments. Wasn't a big fan of Jane Foster. There's a scene towards the end when he's going back to Asgard after he gets all his powers back and everything. And it's that romantic build-up where they get real close and they're about to kiss. And instead of kissing, Thor takes her hand and just tears the back of her knuckles. And I thought that was great. I thought that would have been a great moment. I feel like they should have left it there. They could have sent him back away. And then in Thor 2, The Dark World, the greatest Thor movie to ever exist, and the next movie that I have to watch, in Thor 2, that's where they, like, really hammer home the, we're dating, kiss and love things. Honestly, even I rewatched it and I saw there are some scenes where they're like, yay. look, Thor and Jane are talking and they can be in love. But I mean, it didn't feel like enough. None of it really was enough for me to really get behind the relationship. Darcy was probably my favorite character. Well, Coulson.
Yeah.
But he doesn't count because he's Phil fucking Coulson. But I think Darcy was probably my favorite character on the human side of things.
Yeah. I still even like the Doctor. Like, he at least is a pretty good exposition character. Like, he's meant for more of just telling you how things work, but he does a pretty decent job of keeping you interested. And yeah, like, I don't think they even do a good job of making you notice that Jane is smart. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, all these people are here for a reason. They're all supposed to be intelligent. Like, except for Darcy. She's just... They're
trying not to die for 6 college credits.
Yeah. And she's just, like, intern or whatever. But for Jane, you should see a reason for them being intelligent. Like, and... maybe that's a Marvel problem, period. Like, I think you get that Tony Stark's intelligent, and you get sometimes that Bruce Banner's intelligent.
I think they do a good job at showing that, like, Pepper Potts is pretty intelligent at times.
But they fail at a lot of other characters. Like, I think we complained, or I at least complained, that I don't think they make Tom Holland seem smart enough, like his Spider-Man. Because, like, Spider-Man's supposed to be a crazy inventor. It's not like he just gets all these hand-me-downs from Tony Stark. He's a whiz kid at making stuff. But
I want to say there's something else. I love Idris Elba as an actor. Idris motherfucking Elba is like great. Sometimes I even feel like he's underappreciated.
Yeah.
But I'm still really curious why they cast him as Heimdall.
Well, I actually kind of dug it. So,
I loved it. Don't get me wrong.
Well, it's also because Heimdall in the comics is like his face is actually just always blacked out with stars in it. So it's just kind of cool that they used like a black actor and they're just like, we'll give him like the starry eyes.
Well, they gave him yellow eyes.
But it's just kind of like, oh, I get your workaround to that. And I like Heimdall in the comics. Like, he's actually kind of cool in there. I wish we would have gotten to see more from Heimdall. I
definitely think recent movie Heimdall is way cooler than original movie Heimdall because his armor was kind of goofy and stupid. Yeah. But I do like the fact that him and Loki butt heads a lot because in the actual mythology, spoiler warning for anybody that likes Norse mythology, Loki and Heimdall kill each other.
Yeah.
So they're like enemies. So I thought that was really fun. Really confused about how the ice powers work though, because I just kind of assumed it's like the anime Frost things where it's like, you're frozen, so you're kind of just frozen solid. Heimdall's just in a block of ice, and he's like, if I scream internally loud enough, the ice will break.
Yeah. That's how it works. I don't know. Norse magic, I guess.
So after that, we go into Avengers, first Avengers movie, and my God, there was nostalgia in that. Again, I wasn't really watching to like pick it apart, so I really did enjoy it. I loved the numerous scenes at the end of them fighting the Chitauri. I also found out how to spell Chitauri because of captions. And even better news, I've already forgotten how to spell Chitauri. So
yeah, that sounds right.
I love Loki. Loki is one of the greatest characters that they have made in this goddamn franchise. I love Tom Hiddleston's portrayal of him. I love everything about him. I love the fact that he calls Black Widow a Mewling Quim. Some old-fashioned cuntlery right there, folks. But I also just love his manners. He's so polite.
Yeah.
It's great. Sassy as well. I've noticed a lot of villains usually get this very sassy and flamboyant nature about them.
A lot of people have seen it. You've probably seen it, but he actually tried out for the role of Thor, which I'm glad he didn't get that because he fits Loki perfectly.
He does fit Loki.
His
perfectly.
mannerisms, everything, just like come off so cool that like someone at least had the forethought enough to be like, yeah, this guy doesn't fit Thor, but keep his number because he's gonna be amazing.
I didn't see his thing for Thor though.
Oh really, dude? It's hilarious because you know how scrawny he is, but he has like the hammer and he's got this blonde wig and stuff on, and he's just like oh, like and stuff. So he gave it his all, I can tell you that. But it's just like, yeah, you don't fit Thor. Like it's just not a thing you were meant to do.
Damn, there's something else I wanted to bring up about it.
All right, well, I'll fill in some of this dead air. I did go back not too long ago. I think it was when, not Endgame, but what was the one before that? Infinity War came out, and I like at least wanted to rewatch all the Avengers movies. And I don't think I liked the first Avengers movie that much. I think it's the director's fault, which, once again, like this podcast should be called, I don't remember his name. But he made like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and a bunch of other stuff. It feels somehow like a TV show. It doesn't feel like a movie. Like a lot of like the big like open one character shot kind of like talking things and stuff just fall flat for me. Like when they're jumping around to try to show you like, oh, how different Tony Stark and Captain America are, I'm just like, wow, this just it's kind of boring. Like it's not that great of like a back and forth and stuff. It's just like yeah, we get like the whole, I think in that movie we get the like, you're nobody without your suit or whatever, like come at me kind of thing, and you're like, that's I guess kind of cool. But then Cap just runs off like a kid and then is like, I'm gonna break into this stuff and prove you guys wrong. Like
no, that's actually after Cap comes back with the gun, and that's when they have like the big argument where he's like, take away the suit, what are you? And he's like, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
Yeah, but like I don't know, there's definitely points of that movie that like don't really get me. And also the fight scene at the end
I love it.
There's some cool parts and it could be kind of fun, but I love that like this is also the same time that Man of Steel came out. It was like around the exact same time, and somehow this giant invasion of like thousands of enemies and gigantic weird like Werven chimera things come down and don't destroy like a single building or do much demolishing. But then people were like, oh, I don't know why in Man of Steel they had to destroy a whole city. I was like, these are aliens that hate these people and want to like reconquer it. They're not going to be like, well, let's save these buildings. And I'm like, also, somehow the Avengers, which most of them are on foot and can't do anything, are like, we'll keep them secured down to like a block in New York. And I'm like, none of you can do that. Like, literally, none of you can do that. Like, these things can fly everywhere. Why weren't there, like, 30 in New Jersey by, like, 5 seconds after them leaving that portal? And you're like, it doesn't make any sense to, like...
We can go over the Man of Steel thing in a different video. So I think that's a tangent unto by itself.
It's like, hey, I don't think Man of Steel is amazing.
It's not, but I think it's definitely a better movie.
But I mean,
than
like, if you're gonna add some realism to it, you've got to make it like this is a bigger thing, or like Shield had to interject and like move in their like the Chimera and attack some of these things.
They're actually called the Leviathan.
Whatever.
I could be wrong. I just want to say I think that's their names.
Yeah, but I mean, like. So that they would actually like fight a little bit. So it's like we're gonna keep like we've got a military that's gonna help the Avengers keep this threat down.
No, we're just going to nuke Manhattan.
Yeah, but I'm like nothing. Like I was like none of this really made sense. That if this is an invading army, why would you just be like we're just gonna stick around and fight these guys that have like a shield and a bow and arrow like that literally can't go anywhere. Like they're just regular people and. Well, Cap's not exactly a regular person, but he's not going to be, like, flying around to stop them. And they're like, yeah, we'll stay right here.
So, that's honestly, I mean, I've noticed it, but that was one of the things I'm like, I don't care. You want to know? You want to know what the thing at the end that made me go, that doesn't seem right?
Yeah.
The Hulk. Don't get me wrong. I love the transformation. I love that's my secret cat.
Yeah.
I'm always angry.
Yeah. Him punching Thor and everything.
Yeah, but my thing is, previously in the movie, Hulk had no control. Like, he's just a rampaging monster. He's your stereotypical depiction of the Incredible Hulk. He's big, angry man, hits things. And I mean, yeah, you get that fun little scene where they take down a Leviathan and fucking Hulk just whams Thor out of the fucking frame. It's great. It's hilarious, but, like, we don't have any explanation or, like, character development that shows Banner can control the Hulk in any way, shape, or form. And for us to have this scene, and I mean, I tried to argue the point of, well, you know, in the helicarrier, he transforms out of necessity in a sense, or like, you know, the blast wakes up the Hulk, the Hulk's angry, and that's why he's attacking Widow and all these other people. But like, there is no real scene where, you know, maybe Banner sets down and goes, hey Hulk, I need you on my side or something, or scene where, you know, maybe the Hulk's doing something and like Cap throws a shield and it saves the Hulk from getting hit, not from getting killed or anything. It's the Hulk, but you know, he's like, oh, pretty man with shield, help me not get hurt. I listen. Because you get that scene where, and I love it. Again, I love the scene. But, you know, Cap's like, and Hulk, smash.
Yeah. Well, but I don't think maybe he has that.
I should be an actor as well as a rapper.
Great, yeah. I don't think he actually has control even during it. I think it's more like if you point, like, the Hulk is like a gun at this point. It's like if you point him in the right direction, he'll just demolish it. And I think that's more what he's doing is like he gets kind of what, like, that's even kind of in the comics. He's always kind of gets what Banner wants. Like, he understands at like a small degree. It's just he's still like a monster. So this is like, yeah, clearly I have an enemy to fight. I want to fight them. So he's just kind of like, Hulk, like, smash now. Like, he's just ready to fight that thing. Like, he doesn't know that the event, like, he knows that the Avengers aren't trying to hurt him. He's more just like, I think even when he hits Thor, he's just kind of like,
oh, it's definitely out of him being petty.
This is me. Like, yeah, like, I did this.
It's definitely him being petty because they fought earlier. But at the same time, I see that point, but then Hulk saves Iron Man when he's falling out of the... I mean, yes, Thor would have just caught him regardless, but he saves Iron Man, he catches... He even's nice enough to, like, land on his back so Iron Man lands on his stomach and he doesn't crash him into the ground. And then he wakes him up. I don't know if that was... If Stark was just, like, faking it to get some more sympathy, or if he was genuinely out cold and Hulk was just like roar. But,
you know, you gotta be cool. You can't just come back like when everyone thinks you're dead. So that's not cool enough.
But at the same time, like, again, I don't think they show you or tell you or give any real sign that would let you go, okay, I can see why Hulk is doing that. Because, you know, the entire time Bruce is afraid of him. They seem to be on two separate pages. And when he does come out for the very first time, he goes on a rampage and attacks the Avengers. Yeah. And I get what you're saying. I just think that the movie itself doesn't do a good job of portraying or showing you this information. Yeah. Like, you know, there are a lot of people who went into the MCU movies not really knowing about the comics or anything like that. And they get into the comics as a result. So they don't do a good enough job
of laying down some of the groundwork to...
And, like, this isn't, like, a small little nitpick about it. This is, like, the main framing device of Hulk and Banner. It's, like, their main dichotomy right there that I don't think gets a good... And even, like, in the next few Avengers, it's kind of shoddy.
Yeah, well, I think that's also because we've gotten a movie for every other Avenger. Well, except for Black Widow, and that's still... to be
on
seen.
The way. Well, no, we didn't get Hawkeye. We didn't get Hawkeye. Don't. Hawkeye's my nigga, especially in this movie.
But, yeah, like, I think you could have gone into a deeper meaning of what the Hulk is to Banner, and, like, their connection and stuff if he got his own movie. But we got screwed out of that because
No,
of
we
the
got
licensing.
a movie that's just with
Wow.
Edward Norton, the better actor.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it was also not really that connected to it, except for just Tony Stark being at the bend.
I know, I'm just being a dick.
But it would have been, I think, so much better if we got like a Hulk movie, and I think we kind of now got that because Thor Ragnarok is also just basically Planet Hulk. So we kind of, even Marvel weaseled their way into making that happen.
Which I enjoy. I do like that.
They apparently aren't allowed yet to do a Hulk movie, but they found a way of basically making Thor and Hulk just together. So,
and I do like their relationship. We'll go over that more once I rewatch the second greatest Thor movie, Thor Ragnarok.
But neither one of those are the best characters in that movie. The best character is the rock guy and the weird little insect thing.
Korg and Meek, I think.
Yeah. And Korg is the director of that movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know his name by chance?
Yes, I actually do. Taika Waititi, because you can't forget that name.
I mean, I bet you I will.
Yeah. Hey, if you want to watch it's not really a spooky movie, but it's hilarious. It's called What We Do in the Dark, or Things We Do in the Dark. Or
I feel like I've heard that before, and I just never watched.
There's also a TV show, but Taika Waititi made this, and it's got like basically it's him that he's kind of been, I think, dead for a while as like a vampire. It's got a guy that's like newer as a vampire. And then they also basically just live with Nosferatu. He like lives in their basement, and then it's like them just living the nightlife in like New Zealand, because that's where Taika Waititi's from. And oh my gosh, it just had me rolling. And it's them also like dealing with like they have like werewolves and stuff in it and everything, and it's just so goofy, like the way they twist on those like monster characters.
I'll give it a shot. And because this is really close to, I think, what goes into the segue to our next topic. I don't know. I'm not looking at the list.
No, I think we still have another Avengers movie.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
Otherwise known as the greatest Iron Man of all time. Definitely better than Iron Man 1.
Man, I'm not really a fan of the Iron Man movies. Like, so I can't even remember. Like, I know this is based on the Extremist comic book thing, and I remember not really liking, I think, the third one. The third one's when they like ruin the
Mandalorian, yes.
Yeah, the Mandarin, and also like I think even they screw up the whole story of Extremist. Oh yeah, Iron Man 3 is actually the one that I was super pissed at, because he is not Iron Man in like that whole damn movie. It's just Robert Downey Jr. the movie. That's what that movie is, right?
Yeah, kind of.
And also, I love that, like, he's like, oh, I gotta find some way to get a suit back. And then literally, at the end, he's just like, hey, Jarvis, send me some suits. And you're just like, you could have done this the whole entire time? This is like that terrible Transformers movie where Optimus Prime just chooses that he can fly into space at the end of the movie, and you're like, you could fly this whole time? You literally like spent half the movie just falling off things. Like, what just happened?
Okay, to be fair, and it's a flimsy excuse. I can admit that it's a flimsy excuse, but they at least did make an attempt to explain why he couldn't, because there's a throwaway line where Jarvis is like, they finally dug up your Malibu penthouse or whatever, so now there's an opening to let out all of your armored suits, which are at the bottom of this, I guess, tunnel or hidden hatch or whatever.
Which, who was actually allowed to dig up his
I don't know,
like,
but
secret government weapons? Like,
S.H.I.E.L.D. did it. It was all S.H.I.E.L.D. There's a fat-ass S.H.I.E.L.D. logo on one of the excavator
like,
drills.
Because really, if I was sent to do that, like I worked for a construction company, I'd be like, I'm taking one of these suits with me, I tell you that.
I'd do it as well, sure. But
my fat ass though, trying to fit in one of those Iron Man suits.
Whoa! They got the president in there, and the president was a pretty chunky monkey. Yeah. But you know, I definitely agree with some of the criticisms about the Mandarin, but at the same time, they do go out and show that the actual comic book Mandarin exists. Now, looking back at it now, it doesn't matter because Tony Stark is dead, and you don't get Iron Man versus the Mandarin. So,
and they kind of only do that in like an extra scene, right?
I think it's the after credits.
Well, I don't even maybe it is now since it's on Disney Plus, but it wasn't. I don't think on there. It was more like you had to watch another thing that if you got on like the Blu-ray. And it was like the Mandarin in jail, and then he's like, some guys just like, the Mandarin's coming for you, and then
you get like the 10 ring symbol.
Yeah, people come into the jail thing and like take that guy away and stuff like that, and you're like, oh, okay, so the Mandarin exists, but you didn't take the time to tell anybody, like, because also like, once again, like you just said, people don't really read comic books; they just watch these movies. So to an average watcher, the Mandarin means nothing. You're just this is just some goofball that thinks he's a terrorist. But you're like, if you're actually like a comic book fan, which they should be making it for us as well, you're like, why did you do this? Like, this doesn't make any sense of why you're like, hey, we took one of the coolest characters. Maybe because they didn't introduce magic really yet to the MCU. I think maybe that's why they're scared. But
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, because like we didn't get Doctor Strange. All the Thor movies are like, oh, it's actually science that makes up these people's powers and stuff. It's not magic. So it's like, were you just too afraid to actually give a guy like actually like magical powers from these rings? Like I don't know. I just didn't get why you'd ruin a character.
Yeah, I definitely think the Mandarin falls into the comic book character or the movie characters that's like, you are way too far removed from your comic book counterpart for any real reason.
Yeah.
Like Tom Holland's Mary Jane or MJ. She's not MJ. She's a completely different character. Why name them MJ? Why fill them in with that role? Like the Mandarin is a completely different character. I feel like you could have easily gave him a different name. You could associate him with the Mandarin, maybe use the 10 Rings cult, but I feel like that's an argument that everybody already knows. They've heard it 10,000 times, and I'm not really going to throw anything new into that furnace there. So, that being said, I do like Trevor Slattery at least gave me laughs, and that's the only silver lining I will give their pseudo-false Mandarin. Aldrich Killian being the actual Mandarin of it, I really didn't care for.
Yeah.
I didn't care for a lot of the movie, I'll admit. But
also, that end fight scene is garbage. Because it's just like, oh yeah, for some reason, all of my suits are just garbage. Like, they can literally be, like, ripped apart like they're pieces of paper. So...
I had talked to Aaron about that when he was watching it. It's not actually just... It's in several movies, though. And you know what? I think it wouldn't be that bad of a problem if you didn't have Avengers being the movie prior to this, where you get to see Iron Man fight Thor.
Yeah.
The god of thunder, known for having immense strength and a fucking hammer.
Yeah.
And he goes thwunk to Iron Man in a much technically weaker model suit. Cause
well, and he takes like the shockwave from a freaking nuclear bomb. Like, there's some reason to be like, oh yeah, his suits are actually pretty badass, and this is supposed to be ones that are more powerful than what he had before.
I think it's a flawed argument, but my friend Aaron was like, oh, well, when he gets hit by the bus or the tractor trailer and his suit falls apart, it's because there's nobody in it. I don't think that's a viable reason, but whatever. No. I'll benefit of the doubt. Whatever. You can be right. There's a scene when he's fighting Aldrich Killian's the Mandarin, and he's like hopping from different suits. He jumps down, he gets in a suit, and as he's falling, he crashes into like a rafting railing or whatever, and he's tumbling down it, and it's breaking pieces off of his suit. You're having a nasty fall that a skateboarder can get back up from, and your suit's falling apart to it.
Yeah.
You know, there are some instances. I was fine with Killian being like, I have the hot hand. Slice, there goes your leg. Slice, there goes another part of your armor. Whatever. That's cool. I was fine with it. But, like, there are so many scenes where these armors just, like, self-destruct because they take damage that should never stop an Iron Man suit.
No. Or they're basically useless. You're basically just wearing, like, a t-shirt and pants, because like, what are they gonna do? Like, they barely save you from anything.
A lot of it's really just the toy issue again. A lot of these suits are just shown off so you can sell more toys of different Iron Man suits. And
I get even that it was kind of like a cool concept for a fight, just to make him like jump between them, because like I can see as like if you're a writer and you're writing it out and you're like, whoa, this is something we haven't ever had before. Like he's just gonna be like, just so we can be like, boom, boom, but he's got like all these crazy suits he built. Like we know we keep naming these like Mark 5, 10, 12, like 37. Like that's just their way of being like, this is a cool concept for a fight. But they never made like a reason for them to be brittle. Like if you just told me that like if Jarvis came across and was like, well, sir, like I'm gonna send these suits out to you, but like most of them are already destroyed. Like they'll make it to you, but they're damaged beyond belief.
Or you could say they're prototypes. That's the problem they kept using with the Mark 42, the armor that boom, 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 that always comes to them. It was a prototype, and they keep saying it throughout the movie, and I was fine with it. But they don't. And I thought fucking watching Tony Stark jump from one suit, get caught by another, the cool-ass Transformer-style way the suits, wrap around him to throw him into the mech or whatever. I thought those looked super cool. Those were some of my favorite parts of the entire fucking movie.
Yeah.
Action-wise, at least. But, I really, especially with some of the more gimmick suits, I kind of wish there was more of a purpose for them. Because a lot of the suit gimmicks, it's like, well, when are those ever really going to come in handy?
Yeah. Well, it's like, is the Iron Patriot and stuff in that movie too?
Yeah,
which one is
the
that?
Iron Patriot.
Man, they really why did they think they needed that many characters? And like, they're just like ruining a bunch of stuff. Like,
I didn't mind the Iron Patriot all that much.
But I mean, like,
especially since it was just like a repaint of War Machine, and I thought it led to some funny jokes.
Well, like Iron Patriot in the comics is like a big deal, and it's Norman Osborn.
Yeah.
In the comics, so you're just like, that's a big deal. It's a part of the Dark Avengers and stuff, and you're like, that could have been a thing. You could have waited to do that. And it's just like, the Mandarin, you could have waited to do that. It's like, you could have just made this the Extremist comic book, which I think I even have somewhere. And I think it's a pretty cool, like, whole, like, series or, like, story of comics. And you're like, why do you always feel like you have to throw, like, 5 more things into these movies? Like, just go with the comic books. The comic books read well because they're a consistent, good story.
I definitely agree with that.
Civil War.
And we'll get to that. Your favorite movie of all time. But
that might be a whole podcast. Once you
agree.
watch Civil War, I'll watch it as well beforehand, just so I can argue how terrible it is. But we will probably make that a whole episode.
Oh, it's going to be fun. But I agree with your argument. But if I remember correctly, I don't think at the time they could use Osborn or anybody from Spider-Man. So at least with Iron Patriot, you have an excuse.
Like, you could just not have done Iron Patriot at all.
The Mandarin, that's inexcusable. Yeah. But I don't mind, especially because it's something that probably won't come back now. Actually, I kind of do like it because, with Spider-Man being so closely connected to Tony Stark, I feel like if somewhere down the line in one of his Spider-Man movies or movie after the fact, if you get Norman Osborn established as a character and have him, I don't know, Rhodey's crippled, so I guess you can't say cripple Rhodey, so kill Rhodey until and take the Iron Patriot suit and use it as like a mockery of Iron Man.
I was even thinking, it's just kind of like, yeah, I could see that being a cool comic book. Maybe not. He doesn't even take on the moniker of Iron Patriot because we already kind of know that. Like, I think the public, I think you have to really remember that, like, the public is super confused all the time in this. Like, especially when we talk about Civil War, I bring up, like, what does the public, why, like, they would be so confused that literally, like, the Avengers were cool, like, 1 second, and then because they weren't a part of anything, they're just like, I don't know, I haven't seen the Avengers in a while, I guess. But, like, I guess people would know that the Iron Patriot's bad, but if Norman Osborn just kind of shows up as a new Iron Man, so it's just kind of like, the world was missing an Iron Man, so me as another like philanthropist. Man, I really messed up that word. Philanthropist billionaire.
Playboy. Don't forget Playboy.
Well, I don't think Norman's a playboy, so I can't throw that one in.
Yeah, fair enough. Have you seen his haircut?
Yeah.
Them waves mixed with that widow's peak is not it, baby.
But like, if he was like, the world needs another Iron Man, and then it's kind of like maybe he asks Spider-Man. Well, I guess this is basically already the plot of Far From Home.
I was about to say, so you want Mysterio, but with worse hair.
Yeah, and then he's just like, come and join my Avengers or whatever, and then people are like, I think this guy is pretty nefarious. Like, what the hell's going on? Because it also works in a world where the Green Goblin hasn't existed yet, so no one's like really that skeptical of Norman Osborn.
Yeah, and you can like build into maybe a Young Avengers versus Dark Avengers type movie, and then at the end of it, some weird fucking mishap happens. You know, Peter's about to beat Norman. And he's like, I can't kill you though, Norman. And he's like, oh yeah, well, I'm gonna press some buttons on my doodad and a fucking glider's gonna impale me. And the glider impales him, but instead of killing him,
everything again.
It turns him into the Green Goblin. Boom, full circle. Actually,
that'd also be hilarious if we got Talon before we actually got Wolverine in the Marvel universe. Okay, like, they don't make a Wolverine movie, we just get Talon.
All right, but a more like serious note for that, you could argue that some weird element or metal in the Iron Man suit that Norman makes irradiates him biologically to the point where it sends him down the path of becoming the Green Goblin.
Like he like gets corrupted or something inside of it.
There's the he's looking palladium poison in Iron Man 2.
Yeah, like he gets a different power source because he doesn't have Iron Man's power source, so it like corrupts him. I can see that. Yeah.
This was a unannounced side tangent.
Hey, yeah, Disney. There you go. We just made you a whole movie, or even like a whole entire arc of movies. That could be just like Phase 7 of the whole entire Marvel universe.
Hey, man, I'll take a paycheck for that. Yeah. That'd be nice. I should probably stop swearing. I'm going out of focus again. That's where I live.
Out of focus?
Yeah. Damn. Iron Man 3. That's what we were talking about.
Any more thoughts on Iron Man 3?
I'm sure I have plenty. I like the kid, Harley. I thought his name was Toby until I rewatched the movie. It's Harley.
Well,
significantly less cool.
I felt so good about the Endgame thing when everyone's like, who's that kid? And like, for some reason, I have no idea why. I was just sitting there in the theater and I'm just like, hey, I wonder if it's that kid that Tony Stark met in in Iron Man 3, and then like there's nothing to tell you that in the movie, but we just looked it up then like a week later when like whatever like Kotaku or something or IGN like threw up a thing and it was like, oh yeah, that's that kid from Iron Man 3, and I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I'm not even like a big fan of that movie, but I
had a similar reaction, but instead of going, is that kid from Iron Man 3, I was just like, is that Toby? That Toby right there? Hey, I see my nigga Toby looking dapper for the mechanic's funeral. Get it, Toby. His name was Harley, never Toby. Harley. I don't know where I got Toby from. He looks like a Toby. Toby's a cooler name than Harley. Okay. I kind of want to know how he got that letter, just saying like Tony Stark died. Do you think one day he just went back to the barn and it was just dressed out like a fucking morgue? There's a big ass coffin. It's like you're invited to the funeral of Tony Stark. Love the mechanic.
I feel like maybe he just stayed in contact with that kid. I think it'd be kind of cool if that kid even like does more or something in the movies now that like there's this weird future with like missing certain people.
Hear me out. That kid turns into Iron Lad, which turns into Kang the Conqueror. Boom, there's another series.
That actually would be freaking sick because they are thinking about doing
Kang the Conqueror,
Young Avengers and stuff in Ant-Man, so he can definitely be that character.
Spoiler alert, in case my predictions are too on point.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
There you are. All right.
I think I got all my Marvel-ness out of me.
Before we move on, since we have now finished, or you have finished with all Iron Man movies, legitly, not joking, what is your Iron Man rankings?
Shit, I'm supposed to not joke?
Yep. I want legitimacy. And I feel like you can actually do these. It's
I can actually spell that word.
It's not like Spider-Man when we were like, ooh, it's really hard because there's different things here and there.
Iron Man 1 is by far the best.
Yeah.
I'd say Iron Man 3 goes in second place, and Iron Man 2 has the worst. Should I explain my ranking?
You can if you want.
Iron Man 1 is Iron Man.
Yeah.
That's all that needs to be fucking said. To this day, it's still one of the greatest movies in the MCU. I think you could always argue that it's, if not top 3, top 5. I'd probably... all right, now there's probably some competition for top 3, but I feel like it could always be argued that it's up there.
Because I think even for me, like, Iron Man 1 is very good, especially for being as early as it was.
Uh-huh.
But, like, even to me now, like, I know it's not exactly on people's high list, but I think Doctor Strange is still good as, like, an origin story. Like, better probably than Iron Man 1. But it also, once again, we
can fight about it.
Yeah. You want to fight about it?
Oh, yeah.
But it's just, like, that also kind of benefits of being way later down the timeline of MCU movies.
Fair enough.
So, and then, like, I would say even, like, Black Panther's origin kind of thing is better than Iron Man 1.
I disagree with that
like,
one.
The original Thor is definitely not.
Oh, fuck no. No, it's not.
I don't think the original Captain America isn't.
Oh, no, that's pretty boring. I'm not
trying to think, because I'm more just trying to think of, like, the originals for each person. Who else has original? Yeah, Ant-Man's is way better. Like,
Ant-Man's was just fun.
Awesome. Like, that's just a fun freaking, like, heist movie. Like, that could even exist not as a superhero movie.
Guardians of the Galaxy, you want to count that as an origin, or?
Yeah, and that's, like, probably, like, the best Marvel movie in my opinion. So, I'm definitely going to rank that way above them.
I remember when this was supposed to just be ranking Iron Man.
Yeah, but hey, we had to compete with who has the best origin story.
I feel like you had
to rank for some reason Iron Man against the whole rest of the MCU, so I had to just prove you wrong. I'm just kidding.
I didn't say it was. I said you could make an argument. There's a difference.
Well, I was making an argument that it
Well, save that argument for another fucking podcast.
All right.
This is Iron Man's time to shine.
Give your reason for Iron Man 3 being number 2 then.
I genuinely liked having a much more vulnerable and emotional Tony after going through the fucking wormhole and having PTSD and his anxiety attacks. I thought it was a much more interesting way to characterize or add depth and layer to a person, especially compared to Iron Man 2's much less interesting portrayal of, I guess, alcoholism, because I know it's trying to adapt that demon in a bottle storyline.
Well, and that's
partially.
The thing that sucks too is that, like, Tony Stark has been an alcohol,
he's been an alcohol.
He's been an alcohol. He's an alcoholic in comics and stuff before, and I was really looking forward to that, like them doing that story, because Robert Downey Jr. also had substance abuse problems, like, throughout his life. So I was like, he's really going to portray this really well. But Disney, being Disney, was too afraid of making a character too reliant on him being, like, a complete wreck from, like, substance abuse and stuff. So they never let it happen. Like, even the director, which, once again, I can't... Jon Favreau! Ha! I did it!
I'm so proud of you.
Jon Favreau already said, like, in interviews and stuff, he wanted to make that kind of Iron Man movie. He wanted to make him where he was, like, really bad, like, really just drinking all the time, like, completely, like, destroyed, and, like, him even trying to be Iron Man while he's, like, this messed up. But Disney wouldn't let him do it, which kind of sucks, because, like, I think a movie like that could be really powerful. Like, it's not even just down to being like, oh, you can't do it because kids might watch. Well, yeah, kids might watch, because the thing is they have to understand too that this is a dark
drugs
road.
Are bad,
yeah,
okay.
Like, it's a dark road to go down, and I don't think you learn from, like, drugs are bad, like, stupid school things. You can relate to a character that you already love and be like, oh, like, this really messed up his life. And so it's like, instead of being scared of going down these kind of, like, rabbit holes of, like, scary things, like, even Batman the Animated Series did stuff with, like, substance abuse and stuff. Like, that was a very dark show, and I watched it when I was a kid, and maybe I didn't really understand the stuff then, but I'm like, oh, like, they were willing to do some dark subject matter. Why can't Marvel do it?
But yeah, that's my reason for ranking Iron Man 3 above Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
Andy's very passionate today.
Well, no, like, that's just like, it's a thing that's always hit me. I'm like, Disney's still gonna Disney, and they're always too afraid to do stuff, and they always have to be on like the like Nancy side of things, and it just kind of annoys me. So, yeah.
How would you rank Iron Man's movies amongst Iron Man's movies and only Iron Man's movies?
I think it would be 1, 2, and 3. Like, it would just be in that order. Like, yeah, I like 1 more. I think it's a pretty decent origin story. I like how cocky and stuff Tony Stark is. Like, it's fun as a character and stuff for him to have that, but him to still feel like, oh crap, like I'm about to get the shit kicked out of me by like my number 2 in my business, when he has like that gigantic suit and stuff, and it's a cool scene, and him just being like this super cocky like Iron Man, like when he just flies down in that like foreign country and just like launches a rocket and blows up that tank and stuff, and he's just like boop, boop, boop. Like,
badasses don't look at explosions.
And then like 3, you heard my hatred of a lot of parts of that movie, of why I think that plot falls apart, why they wasted characters. Like with 2, I don't think their characters are that great, but at least like they're not just ruining them for no reason. Like Whiplash is just kind of there. I think that's what his name is, right?
Yeah, it's Whiplash.
And like Whiplash is just kind of exists in that movie. Like, he doesn't do much. And then I guess the other main villain,
Justin Hammer.
Yeah, Justin Hammer is just kind of like the other like I don't know how do I want to explain him. Like, he's just jealous and petty, but he takes this pettiness to another level where he just wants to like actually like ruin or destroy Tony Stark, but then he doesn't realize it means like he's trying to kill him. Like, he's actually also that dumb that he's like, oh, I didn't realize backing this guy that hates the Starks might actually end up in Tony Stark's murder.
Justin Hammer is by far the greatest part of Iron Man 2 in my opinion. But for me, Iron Man 2 is just boring.
Yeah.
Like, that's the major problem.
Well, but that's why I think I rank him. I'm like, I'm happy. My hand. I'm happy with Iron Man 1. Iron Man 2 is meh. And then I have to watch my hand. And then Iron Man 3, like, parts of it actively make me angry.
See, but that's my thing. I'd rather feel something
Yeah.
than to be bored during a movie.
Yeah.
Like,
but I mean, like, if I was like actually giving them a number grade or something, then I'd probably give like Iron Man 1 like an 8. I'd give Iron Man 2 like a 5, and give Iron Man 3 like a 4.
you know what? I could argue that if you swap the last two.
Yeah.
Iron Man 3, I'd give like a 5, maybe even a 6 on my good day. But Iron Man 2, that'd be like a 3.
All right. So now.
And 2 out of the 3 points go to Justin Hammer because he is the greatest part of the motherfucking movie.
Yep. How have you? Okay, before we move on, I was about to jump into the news, but how do you feel about Rhodey being changed? Did you like that, or?
I kind of wish they at least had like a throwaway joke of like, "Hey, did you get a new haircut or something?"
Yeah.
But I do. God, I wish you would have let me know this was a question on the fucking conflict earlier, so I could look up the name of the fucking actors.
The first one or the second
Both
one?
of them.
Oh God.
You think I remember names properly? No, I'm fucking retarded. I like the new actor, the newer one. I like him better. He was much more fun as Rhodes to me. Granted, he has a lot more movies to shine as Colonel Rhodes. But, yeah, I don't know. I like him. He's fun. He's cool. He's blacker. That's not an excuse. I'm just joking.
Okay, so apparently I just tried to type in War Machine because I was like, the actor will come up. Well, but apparently there's a movie called War Machine, and
shouldn't come as a surprise to you.
That is Brad Pitt,
that
Anthony Michael Hall, Topher Grace, Tilda Swinton, Ben Kingsley, and whoever Emery Cohen is. Which some of these people have been in Marvel movies. Even, well, very few of them. At least 3 of them. But, yeah, whatever. It's not that important. You gave your impressions of War Machines.
All right, which War Machine do you think is better?
The second one, absolutely.
Okay, the blacker one.
Yeah. Well, because he also, I think actually that is a point of it for some reason to me, is that like, when they showed Rhodey off, is the first guy even like actually black or is he Hispanic? Because I thought literally, like, I can't remember who the actor is now, but I was like,
Andy, you're not allowed to ask that. You're
Okay,
the white
I'm
member
white.
of the serious list. You're going to get us cancer. We're gonna cut that scene out, and I'm going to ask it now.
okay, you
I don't know. The first Rhodey, I can't tell. I think he might be. Is he black or is he Hispanic? I can't. He's a little too light.
Yeah,
There we
but
go.
like, you know what I'm saying though? Like, I was like, I don't think they cast this correctly. Like, but yeah, like I think the second guy, he's a better actor for feeding off of Robert Downey Jr. He's a little more jokey and stuff. Like the first guy, I've seen him in stuff. He was in like Hustle and Flow, I think, but he's like much more serious of an actor. So I think the second Rhodey, he works a lot better. He even did like the College humor thing back in the day of being Captain Planet, which is hilarious.
The
If you
greatest
ever get the
Captain
time,
Planet
it's
to ever
amazing.
exist.
So yeah, I definitely like the second Rhodey.
Oh, this is gonna be another 2-hour podcast,
But-
and most of it's gonna be about fucking Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
That's
On to
what
the
I'm saying.
news. Talking about another person playing another person. Tom Holland as Nathan Drake.
I mean, this one's all you, mate. I'm Team Xbox, gang gang.
Yeah.
I've never really played Uncharted, never got into Uncharted too much. The most exposure to Uncharted I have is back when Walmart used to let you play fucking video game demos
At
in the game
store?
section.
Yeah.
And that was one of the ones that they had for like the PlayStation section. And I'd give it a shot every time. But
Yeah. Like I love the Uncharted games. The first one's pretty rough, but the other ones are just, I think, amazing cinematic like games that just kind of knock it out of the park. I love the voice actor that plays Nathan Drake. I can't remember his name right now because that's what this podcast is all about.
I'm strongly
Yeah,
urging that we change it to can't remember
yeah.
the podcast.
But he
or side
even
tangent the podcast.
he gave his basically like he talked with, what the hell? They don't even have this. I just looked up because Nathan Fillion played him in like an indie like quick little thing. They have Nathan Fillion down. Well, guess what? That's not who that is. I'm looking for the voice actor of
It's Nathan
Nolan
Fillion.
North. Nolan North.
God, I should have guessed it was Nolan North.
Yeah. But
He played Deadpool.
yeah, he's awesome. Like Nolan North is an amazing voice actor. But Nolan North actually, there's pictures of him meeting with Tom Holland. So I'm kind
Ooh.
of cool with that. And then so hopefully he gets a little bit more of like that
I want him
Nathan
to cameo.
Drake-ness from him.
I want him
Yeah,
to cameo.
I hope so. I think he will because he was on like the set of it. So I think he will be there. Because he also like, I don't know if you like, know who he is. So most likely you've seen a picture of Nolan North. He looks like Nathan Drake. Like you could have easily just been like, hey, he's Nathan Drake. Like,
Might be the angle, the glare, and the fact that I only have one eye, but he kind of looks like a young Papa John's from back here.
oh yeah, Papa's in the house. But yeah, I like the image that they put out there. I think he actually does look like he fits the part. I'm not so sure about Mark Wahlberg as Sully because I think Mark Wahlberg is probably one of the worst actors that exists right now. He basically just plays Mark Wahlberg in every single movie. So
That's how you know he's a good actor.
yeah, that's just like The Rock. Like I know The Rock is in just about everything, and he's a lovable guy, but he is also just Dwayne The Rock Johnson in every single movie he's in. So-
Except for the WWE, because then you have Rocky Maivia, you have Hart. Yeah,
which he
corporate
definitely
Rock.
plays different characters when he's in the WWE.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
not just the same guy that's like just really loud and
I mean, he kind of is to an extent, but it's more interesting in the WWE than
Yeah.
outside, in my opinion.
But yeah, I like Tom Holland as Spider-Man. We haven't really gotten to see him too much in other stuff. So
Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel also seems to play himself a lot.
oh yeah, like
Except for
I barely even
no,
think
even
of,
when he plays Groot, he's basically playing
Yeah.
himself.
I even forget that like Vin Diesel's really an actor because he just seems to play in his own movies now. Because I think he basically just owns the Fast and Furious franchise, so it's just basically like Vin Diesel's just Fast and Furious. That's what he is. And then he can say Groot in different languages. Because I don't know if you ever heard that, but he somehow went through and redid all of his own voice lines in every single language for what the movie released.
Look, say what you will about Vin Diesel and the fucking Fast and Furious franchise and all the other shitty movies that he's in. At least he's committed, because, you know, that's great. That's great. Could you imagine learning fucking 20 languages, one phrase in 20 languages, just to repeat? And how many fucking times did he repeat it just for the American release?
I have no idea, but it's got to be a lot. Just Groot in different tones. Groot, I am Groot, Groot, Groot.
He conveyed a shit ton of emotion there, and I loved it. He's truly one of the greatest actors of all time. When he says, "We are Groot," I felt it. Man. I felt pissed off. Why'd you learn a new fucking word? It's I am Groot. Get it right. You had one fucking job, and you couldn't do that right.
Yeah, that was his fault too. That was Vin Diesel. Like it wasn't even written in the script. James Gunn's just like, this guy, he just can't get it right.
We have gone all the way off track again.
All right. Well, and I think that does it for the news, because really, I think that's all that needs to be said about that. So, now it's on to our favorite horror games of all time. And I went first last time, so it's your turn. Oh, shit. That's a scary game right there in and of itself. So, hands down, my favorite horror game of all time is motherfucking Silent Hill 2. I don't even need to explain. It's a great fucking game. Yeah. James Sunderland as a character, love revealing the fact that he's a horrible piece of shit very slowly throughout the entire game, and through the creative ways of all of the fucking monsters. Mm-hmm. The Red Pyramid thing is, of course, my favorite. I mean, Pyramid Head has now become like the staple of Silent Hill, so it's kind of hard not to love them, but I don't remember their names at the moment. I want to call them Straitjackets, but I don't think they were called that in Silent Hill 2. There's a similar creature in one of the later Silent Hills that go by it, but they're the flesh bags that walk with their arms like tied behind their backs, like, but they're in this around or whatever. Yeah, and they're like really just legs, a hole like in their chest, and a fucking head with no features. They crawl around like a cockroach once you've hit them. I kind of want to do Armless Man. I think they're called the Armless Man. Kind of want to do a cosplay of them. Really crazy, unique names, because they're all down to people's like fears or their own sins, kind of too. Yeah, and I just thought that was hella neat. Fun fact: Pyramid Head was my first cosplay. Nice. My sister Kat did one of the Bubblehead nurses. Oh, yeah. We went out. That was our very first cosplay. That would have been weird if you acted out, though, the first scene you see with Pyramid Head, where he's basically acting out James's like way he treats women. So his he's basically sick, perverted fantasies. Yeah, so he's just banging the nurse on like a sink or something like that. Yeah. James is an incel that got laid. Yeah. Basically, like, that's pretty, like, but I like the fact that he appears so normal throughout, like, the bulk of the game, and it's while playing through that you reveal that, he's a piece of shit. Kind of a dick. Yeah. Well, and that's even, like, they all have crazy names, but one of the monsters, I can't remember the girl that, she was, like, sexually assaulted and stuff like that, and her, like, the monster you save her from is called, like, something daddy. Yeah, it's like the perfect daddy or something that, like, his other name is like the ideal father. Oh, but it's just, it's so messed up because and the thing is, what you fight her, or when you fight it, you're like, oh, it just looks like some weird dude like attached to a table. But to her, it's like the most terrifying thing she's ever seen in her life, which seems like most likely by that name and everything that this game touches on really deep, like pretty dark topics, because that's basically like most likely her father molested her. And
Yeah, that's
so
exactly what happened. Abstract Daddy, thank you.
Yeah, Abstract
Google.
Daddy.
And the lying figure was the other one.
Yeah, and it's just like the game deals with heavy heavy subject matter, and I think it does it pretty decently. Like some of the lines and stuff are pretty janky because it's just old video games with bad translations, but
I kind of like, I get graphics and everything don't make a game, but if there was ever a game that gets like a major reboot type deal, I would hope to God that it's Silent Hill 2.
Yeah.
I'd settle for Silent Hill 3, but I prefer Silent Hill 2.
The biggest problem is Konami doesn't give a shit about making video games anymore.
Yeah.
So we don't know what's going to happen to Silent Hill at all, or Metal Gear Solid, or Castlevania, and it just sucks. So
teardrops.
Yeah.
Falling out of my eyes. You want to go into your song, your teardrop song?
No, I'm good.
No, we're not going to recreate. Repetition's the best form of humor. It's a great way to get good comedy flowing.
Hilarious as well for me to just be like, no, not doing it.
I mean, it subverts our expectations, so it belongs in a fucking Game of Thrones episode. So.
Oh, God. So is it my turn now?
Oh, yeah, sure. Go ahead.
This is hard. I like a lot of horror games.
Okay.
But I think for my first one, and I'm going to establish this as, like, legitly, like, I'm just going to announce it right away, that this is my favorite horror game ever, and that is Dead Space 1.
Okay.
I absolutely love that game. I've played it, like, 5 million times. I just keep going over it. Like, I know 2 adds new, like, stuff, but it's just, like, just being in that space station for the first time, it's kind of like living out, like, your alien fantasy of, like, seeing this terrible creatures and stuff like that you don't really know what to do with. And then, like I was even listening to another podcast recently, and they were like, maybe Dead Space was too gimmicky. Maybe it wouldn't work now if they, like, remade it or something, because the shooting off limbs is gimmicky. Like, no, that adds to the horror aspect of the game. Like, you have to, like, reposition yourself and think about where you're gonna fire. It's not just like aim for the chest, aim for the head, like every other zombie game. Like, almost every single thing has, like, a unique way of taking it down. And, like, their complaint was like, oh, they have to use tools, so you just run out of options after a while. And it's like, no, that was just a unique thing. There are actual, like, guns in the game, but it's like your best option, because they need to be cut off and not just shot off. You had to build a way of, like, using these line guns and stuff that were, like, different to, like, tools that could be used in the future, so that it makes sense. And you're like, oh, that game, just, like, the atmosphere and everything, like, it's so crazy that, like, it builds more and more, and you get more into, like, this cult kind of thing going on too, that, like, deals with the Rock and stuff, and that your wife was really, like, dead this whole entire time. And, like, even sometimes I don't like a silent protagonist, but your main character works in that game as silent. Like, yeah, I think he talks in 2 and 3, but I like that he's silent in that first game. Like, all you get is his screams, like, when he dies in these super horrific ways. But it's just atmosphere, and that's what I think horror games are about.
I genuinely agree with that.
Is, like, it just has this amazing atmosphere to it, and you feel this dread. They definitely play with music a lot, like, not even trying to, like, get you on, like, jump scares, like, purely, but sometimes they'll ramp up the music real quick, and there's nothing there. It's just like, yeah, because
you slut.
I just turned a corner, so you're like, oh, like, yeah, I'm even on edge, but it could just be like a can rolling down, and you're just like, whew.
Meanwhile, I'm over there like, who the fuck kicked that?
Yeah. And then you walk down the hall, and then you get completely, like, torn apart by something.
But, you know, I want to cut you off real quick, because I find it really funny that people would make an argument about being gimmicky in Dead Space, but, like, how many games do that hide in a locker thing that fucking Outlast popularized? Yeah. Like, that's a fucking gimmick, and so many of those games get praised to all hell.
Yeah. And then the saddest thing about Dead Space is that we'll probably never get another one, except for if it's just like a remake. I don't know, like a remake, but like a remaster, because Visceral Studios that made that game no longer exist. EA got rid of them. So
Thanks, EA.
yeah. So unless they really feel like putting a new studio on it or something, someone that's really passionate, but most likely there'll never be another Dead Space game.
Start a GoFundMe and try and buy the fucking Dead
buy
Space
the IP.
DLC.
Yeah, guys,
No, just
start watching our stuff, and we'll use all of our money to buy the IP. To get
No, you don't even gotta
to
buy the
right
IP.
people.
Just buy a fucking DLC off EA.
Oh yeah, like
The Dead Space DLC. It'll come with a brand new game
There we go.
that you have to pay more money to unlock certain parts of.
Yeah, then everyone else has to pay us DLC to even play the game.
I'd be down with that. Give me money.
Yep.
Oh, it's my turn again,
Yes,
right?
sir.
So after a bit of thought, because I feel like you're going to take that one, so I'll pick a different one that I have. The Evil Within.
Holy shit, yeah.
I thought that was
Shinji
a
Mikami.
very fun fucking game.
Mm-hmm.
Another little fun fact. The Keeper from Evil Within. Character I cosplayed as well. My sister did the Shade from the DLC. I love the game. Ruvik's design, I don't even think I pronounced that correctly, but his design I thought was absolutely cool. Because I want to say back at the time, like a lot of the trailers revolved around Reborn Laura, which is that gangly spider bitch with all the limbs.
Which they definitely do that with the second one, basically.
Because she doesn't really appear all that much in the game, so I felt like I was kind of misleading. What the fuck is the little shit's name? The kid you're chasing, the mental patient. Casper's bitch ass.
Yeah. The kid that kind of even like runs away at the end. The guy that Ruvik's trying to take over so that he can use him.
Oh, my sister is like, oh no, he's such a lost soul. You gotta be nice. And I was just like, get your fucking ass back here, you little shit. Why can't I fucking put a bullet in you? Yeah. Couldn't stand him. Kind of wanted him dead. Not gonna lie.
Any escort mission in a game sucks. Fun fact, because I can also use fun facts. Oh. The creator of that game is Shinji Mikami, and Shinji Mikami made Resident Evil games.
That explains so much of the feel.
Yeah, he definitely this was his return back to horror and stuff, and ever since he left Capcom, so this is a big deal when this game happened. So yeah, thanks for choosing that.
Yeah, you're welcome. I also just like the fact that it's. I don't fully understand it, but all the psychosomatic fucking psychological trauma of being in other people's heads, I fully couldn't comprehend it because I'm a fucking moron. I'm about as smart as a squirrel with a spastic disorder, but I just thought it was cool. It was a fun setting, seeing weird fucking barbed wire headed zombie things manifest before your eyes. It was also a horror game that, I mean, Dead Space probably takes the cake for it, but it was a horror game that had pretty decent combat controls. A lot of horror games have really janky fighting controls that I'm just like, doesn't fit well within a horror game. Or, I mean, maybe it does because it makes fighting harder and discouraged and a bit scarier, but still, it just isn't fun in a horror game.
Mm-hmm. My turn now?
Yeah, your turn.
My second game has to be from the Resident Evil franchise.
Oh, damn.
And it's probably going to be one of the remakes. And it's a really hard decision because the remakes are definitely probably the best Resident Evils that exist. Them going back to those games really is just amazing what they accomplished. But out of all the remakes, I think it's got to be 2. I absolutely love Resident Evil 2 Remake. It did a great job of kind of changing up the original Resident Evil, and I haven't played the original Resident Evil probably since I was younger. I haven't ever gone back to it, even though I did love that game as a kid. It scared the crap out of me. And just going back to like some of those characters, even at different times, like meeting Kendo again and seeing more with like his daughter and stuff like that, it was just amazing. And I just like Leon feels probably the best he ever has. Like he feels like a rookie. Like the way he talks and everything, you actually catch that like this kid's out of his element. Like yeah, anybody would be out of their element, but he seriously is just like, hey, like even to like Ada Wong, like you gotta listen to me. I'm a cop. She's like, screw you. Like I don't care what you say. You're just a nobody. And then Jill is also she's just a cool like more badass character. I think even more than Leon because she's just like no like or no I said Jill. I meant damn what is her name? Like I lost it. Because Jill Valentine is Resident Evil 1 and 3, and she's Redfield.
Here we go again, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
I can't remember the name, podcast.
But Chris Redfield's sister, because I can't remember her name right now, but she gonna be more of a badass in the game because she's there on a purpose. Like she's not just going there to be
Clara, is it?
Yeah, Clara Redfield. Yeah,
okay,
you got it. But she has like a purpose. She's going there. She's trying to find her brother and get out. But then she meets this kid, so she's trying to protect her. And it actually ends up working out like pretty cool in the game. Like even the new one to show you like she's a good person and she wants to like help out. And I really dig that. And then just the like really amping up the end and showing you the whole like Umbrella compound just feels so cool in that game. And even though I could have picked Resident Evil 1 Remake, which is amazing because R1 Remake adds actually a bunch more like story components to fill out like how the mansion was made and everything, which I think is awesome. And I really loved Resident Evil 3 Remake, but it's a little too short and they cut tons of stuff out for that game that was in the original. So I think that's why 2 definitely edges out to be the best one for me.
Fun fact, Monster Hunter has a skin for Jill and Leon, so
I
you
can
can run around.
Seen that.
You can run around as those while fighting, I don't know, giant mythical dragons and other weird wire monsters. So
yeah.
So is that all? Is it back to my turn, or you got more to say?
No, I think I'm good there.
I'm gonna cheat.
Oh, okay.
My final installation is going to be a 2-parter. And it's going to be Left 4 Dead's 1 and 2.
Oh.
I know they're a bit more on the action side than horror, but...
You really like getting disappointed. They're never going to happen again, probably.
Oh, yeah, I'm well aware of that. Yeah. I grew up on them. Me and my fucking friend Brendan would just sit down and play that game for hours and hours. And we'd go through... back before Left 4 Dead 2 came out, we'd go through all 4 maps. We didn't have the DLC, so we just played the 4 maps. And when we beat all 4 of them, we'd go back and do it again.
Play them again.
And we just had fun. It was great. The Hunter is probably my favorite out of all of them. Mm-hmm. I could dedicate an entire podcast of just telling you stories of us playing. I was definitely the better player because I am a cynic, selfish asshole. So even though this is a video game, I was very much a save myself type of dude.
Taking all of the extra items.
Oh yeah, I'd heal up, grab a health pack that didn't belong to me. I'd grab whatever. I mean, the guns and stuff you could grab and whatnot, but pipe bombs, Molotovs, whatever. Brendan was very much the bleeding heart. He, even though these are NPCs, he's like, oh, I gotta leave one for them so they can survive. I'll give you guys painkillers. Blah,
so
blah,
when he
blah.
walks out the door, then you go and steal them.
That's happened from time to time. But there are also a lot of instances where we'd get attacked by the tank.
Mm-hmm.
And the tank, for anybody that doesn't know, is the big, undead, Incredible Hulk that lacks a lower jaw for some reason. I have it right here, as a matter of fact. And one of 2 things would happen whenever the tank attacks. A, I'd just run. I'd be gone. I'd I'd run ahead. I'd run back to the safe room. I just wouldn't be in the area that the tank was, and I wouldn't return until it was dead. Why should I fight that thing?
Yeah.
Fuck you. You
Yeah.
guys figure it out. Or two, personally my favorite option, I'd throw a Molotov cocktail at my team and the tank. And then I'd run away.
That's, yeah.
The tank
Good
gets
teamwork.
the tank gets a small power boost when it's on fire,
Yeah.
so like it does more damage. Have fun with that. Oh, I was amazing as an asshole.
So, did you ever use the Civil War strat as Michael Huber from Easy Allies calls it? It's where you like put yourself in like a hallway or like a closet, and one person, since there's friendly fire, one person crouches in the front, and the other person stands up, and you just shoot like crazy so you can get rid of hordes.
I've
they
never
all
done that.
funnel into one area, and you just wait for them to come. And since one person's crouching and one person's standing, you can shoot without hitting each other.
I've kind of done that. Finales, I'd always activate the finale, and when like the hordes come, I just sit in a closet
Yeah.
and let the horde go after everybody else. And for the most part, it usually worked.
Yeah.
God, I am an awful human being. I swear, I pray to God that there's no zombie apocalypse, because anybody that ever saw this would probably just shoot me, so I'm not on their team. Oh, this is bad. Except for Brennan. Brennan would still take me in. He's an idiot.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. So wait, so technically you kind of had 3, or is that just 2?
I mean,
Because I think with the movies we did 3, right?
yeah, and then we just kind of rambled about a bunch of different movies.
Yeah.
Anyways, so
Well, how about we just talk about honorable mentions? We'll just do a top 2 and we'll do some honorable mentions. So, my honorable mentions would have to be Evil Within 2. I think
it's going to be in mine. So
I think it's an amazing game. I don't think it's as scary as the first game.
Agreed.
Like the first one, especially because it jumps around to different, even like motifs of other horror games and like horror movies and stuff. It definitely deals with like the tension and stuff better. Like even like the scrambling around lady in the first one is a little more like hard to kill than like the big giant lady in 2 and stuff like that.
Did you know you can actually skip past them? You're talking about the giant. I think it was like Calamity or something was her name, but
yeah,
like a bunch of faces with like a chainsaw
Yeah.
or buzzsaw arm. Yeah.
Well, that's like I even found a cheat. Like later in that game, in Evil Within 2, there's these guys that walk around like super slow. They've got flamethrowers, and they're like super shitty to try to kill. But there's a perk that you can basically run up and stab things in the back. So since actually like backstabs do such an insane amount of damage, you can actually just run up, stab him in the back, run away, hide,
come back. Yeah.
hide, so then he like loses you and goes back to what he's doing, and you can kill them within like 3 stabs without wasting any ammo or anything at all. So it's just like, yeah, gotcha.
I gotta use Google. Hold on, because there's somebody I gotta ask you about on there. And
Okay.
For the life of me, like this fucking podcast's name, don't remember her name.
Can't remember anything.
So keep talking about it while I Google this.
Are you looking for the lady in Evil Within?
Yes, that Calamity Ghost bitch.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the main chick.
No.
Because she kind of turns out to be a cool character.
It starts with A. It starts with an A, and I just can't remember what her fucking name is.
And then...
But I do think Obscuro is actually pretty cool. The
Oh,
camera
yeah,
monster
the camera
that you gotta
monster.
fight.
Yeah.
Kind of sexy.
What else I got? Well, Evil Within 4. Or, Evil Within 4, goodness. Resident Evil 4 is definitely most people's top games of all time. It's not really that scary. They kind of lessen the need for actually being survival horror, but it's still amazing game. Some cool parts of it. You brought up what was that earlier? The spoopy game where you can hide in...
Outlast?
Yeah, Outlast. I think Outlast 2 is actually, to me, more scary now. It's this whole, like, cult aspect, and it's more even, like, diving back to, like, when you were a child, and that, like, you had some really fucked up things that happened to you at, like, a Catholic school and stuff like that, and
of course,
it's super creepy and everything like those things. And then you just get back and there's all these like Hills Have Eyes type people and stuff too, and there's some pretty messed up parts of that game, and even like people just being tortured and like torn apart. Like for me, even the first Outlast, once you especially get down to the like basement like facility thing, it kind of just like loses all of like they're like this whole thing of like even like nanomachines and stuff, and that's what like the ghosts are and stuff. Like they're trying too hard, I think, to explain everything, and I'm just like, I'm not scared anymore. I'm just trying to get out of this place, and that's just it.
Honestly, looking back at the first Outlast, I am more let down than I remember it ever being.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was younger when I played it, so for the most part, I didn't care about the story. I was more so just like, yay, let's run in the dark, scary, fucking, was it Chris Walker, I believe his name was? The big-ass fucking Iraq vet or whatever.
Yeah, that tracks you through like the whole entire place.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's also not a scary name.
Chris Walker.
Like, you got to work on making things seem more intimidating, and just calling a guy like Walker all the time or whatever it is. Like,
Chris Walker, I believe is his name. Which, I mean, when you have like, what, 4 Chris's portraying affable fucking heroes in the MCU, not scary.
No.
And Walker, well, I just think of Paul Walker, and I can't make jokes because the internet would get mad at me. But Traeger, the doctor, Dr. Traeger, that Traeger's I wouldn't say intimidating, but it's, I don't know, it sounds, well, yeah, I guess intimidating. Not intimidating.
That, like,
It's off-putting.
Is that the guy that cuts off your fingers and stuff? And,
that sounds like a villain name or somebody that's fucked up name. You hear Traeger and you're just like, that nigga don't got all his fucking screws.
If I have any other honorable mentions, Resident Evil 7, I think it's worth a play. A lot of people haven't played it. I think it's just because it's off the normal beaten path of Resident Evil since it's first person.
I'm just a cheap bitch.
It kind of goes back to the origins. Like, it feels more like you have to care about inventory management. It's like at the beginning it feels like you're in like the mansion or whatever in Resident Evil 1, like trying to figure out puzzles and stuff. It gets away from like especially Resident Evil 6, which was garbage, and 5 that is fun with a friend, but that's basically it. It's not scary at all, and it's just kind of like shoot everything. So Capcom getting back, especially with the remakes and 7, back to actual survival horror is just awesome to me. Like, they're saving Capcom. Capcom's getting better like every day, it seems, with like Monster Hunter World, with the Resident Evils, with the new Devil May Cry 5. The only thing they need to save is their fighting games, because they kind of suck.
And their movies.
Yeah, dear God. Well, hey, they are doing a reboot of Resident Evil, so hopefully that turns out good. Yeah.
I hope it has Mila Jovovich in it.
It does not. That's why it's gonna be great.
Well, no, she could still cameo.
Yeah, they'll just make her. I can't remember his name right now. This is terrible. Like,
this is
really,
the fucking podcast.
We gotta do more research. Like, I know these things, but I can't remember names. Starts with a W. Wesker. There we go. She can be Wesker. Because she is the true villain of Resident Evil.
You know what? That's fair enough. Yeah. By the way, Anima was the name of the bitch I was talking about. Did you? Because she's completely optional. Did you fight her? I always
killed her because I just feel like I have to kill every single boss in every one of the games like that.
Kill her? I just thought you escape her.
No, you actually you fight her in front of the courthouse. I think it is. It's before you fight Obscura, and you actually finally like kill her. Well,
no, I think you're thinking of the Guardian, the buzzsaw nigga, the buzzsaw hand bitch with like the weird faces.
Okay, what are you saying?
They're at the beginning of the game when you're still just like running through the city. One of the houses, if you go in there, there's
the ghost thing.
Yeah.
You kind of defeat her by, at the very like end of the game, you confront yourself. She is just the embodiment of you not letting go of the last game, and it's kind of cool actually. You for beating her finally is you get your old revolver,
Yeah,
and stuff. But yeah, it's basically like she's just kind of your own nightmare for not wanting to confront like what you went through in the first game. So I think that's a cool way of doing that character. And like, yeah, I guess really you don't kill her or anything, but it's more just like, oh, this is my own fault. Like, this is my own nightmares that I'm creating in this world.
I can agree with you, Chief. That was cool and all. But that bitch was a bitch.
Yeah.
And I absolutely, I hated her. Oh my! If I ever do we get the fucking seriousness gaming channel
thing,
up,
yeah.
we're gonna and we play it. 'Cause I got it from my Xbox. We are definitely going to reactivate that bitch.
Yeah.
But oh my god, she's a fucking pain in the ass. She's unkillable. If she touches you once, she automatically kills you, and it's really just a hide and seek game.
Yeah.
You have to hide from her while doing certain tasks to escape the area that she has trapped you in. And I hate it. 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 I said it once, I say it again.
Yeah.
I like fighting things. I like hitting things. I just want to murder while also being kind of scared. And you can't do that with her, and therefore I hate her. But that brings me to a question.
Mm-hmm.
What are your favorite type of horror games? Games where you can fight,
Oh, absolutely.
or games where you cannot?
Even with the horror movies we were talking about last time, I like when people can fight back, and I want to fight back when I'm in control of a character. So yeah, I'm not huge on games where I just have to run the whole entire time. I want to fight back. That's why like Silent Hill kind of plays that line of being like some things you can kill and some things you can't. But definitely I'm going to play more of those survival horror games way before I'll play Outlast and stuff like that. Like I had to play Outlast. It just felt like everyone was talking about it, so I played it. And then I played the second one, and I was like, these games are okay, but yeah, I would so much rather. Why didn't you pick up like a plank or something this whole entire time when you pass by plenty of things? Like you're trying to save your wife in the second one, and you never are like, hey, I could literally have just picked up like a pipe to try to fight something instead of just running into stuff and running away.
Yeah, for real. I mean, there are plenty of no, because Traeger drops his weird ass scissors down the elevator shaft.
Yeah, but there could have been plenty of stuff to find to fight back.
You can find plenty of stuff. You can hit a fucking whatever those guys are.
Yeah.
Variants, I think, was the names that they gave them.
And like, yeah, you're probably not gonna do that great against Walker because he's like some ridiculous, like, overpowered
war vet.
Yeah,
I don't remember what war though.
Yeah, neither do I. But and they've done things to make him like more aggressive and stuff. But yeah, it'd feel like a boss battle to fight him. But
I'd run from that again.
And then the normal dudes, you could definitely fight back. Like the fast guys that just like run after you and stuff.
I'd
just like
fucking swing on them.
Yeah.
Even if I didn't have a weapon, catch hands, nigga.
Like that doesn't make any sense when people just don't fight back and things. So yeah.
See, with games, actually no, in general, I like when characters fight back. I just think in horror movies, and I mean it extends to games, but games are a lot more outlandish usually. But in horror movies, they typically build up your main big bad as a character that you just can't fight against, while they make like the cast that you're supposed to root for far more unsuited to actually fight back. And when they fight back and then win, I just don't like it, because it's like, really? You expect me to believe that, I don't know, Jason Voorhees lost to a couple horny kids lost in the woods?
But
you could kill 5 out of 7, but some other person was just like, we successfully killed him.
Yeah, but it's also like the horror movie trope of being like, we should all split up and run away from each other. And it's like, well, if you guys actually did all team up together, you might have a fighting chance.
Nah, plot twist, Jason just stops moving slow. He's like, all right, I'm going to break out some fucking jujitsu on your ass.
Yeah, like, there's other games that I do play that don't have fighting back things. Like, Until Dawn, I think, is a cool.
I didn't care for it.
Really? You didn't like it? Like, I like the campiness and stuff of it, and actually, you do kind of fight back in some spots, but it is just a like QTE.
I was about to say, press the button to continue.
Yeah. But
I don't really consider that much of a game, truth be told.
Well,
I didn't care for it.
Close to watching a movie, but just some interaction. You can still end up getting out of that game with like all your people dead instead of.
What is that? Was Black Mirror's, I think, Bandersnatch?
Bandersnatch. Yeah, that was on Netflix.
Yeah, that it's the same thing as that. That's not a fucking game. It's a goddamn interactive movie.
That a game.
It's an interactive movie. It's a choose your own ending.
But yeah, and all in all, I guess in horror games, I love Silent Hill. I love Resident Evil. I can't recall any other big like horror games. Like there's things that have like horror elements, like Legend of Kain and stuff like that. Like they're action games, but there's like horror kind of things in it. The first Devil May Cry kind of calls back to being more horror, because even that was supposed to be actually Resident Evil 4. I don't know if you ever knew that.
I did not. That's a fun fact.
It was supposed to be Leon Kennedy more fighting like ghosts and stuff than zombies, and then they're like, we'll turn this into its own game, so it made it Devil May Cry, which ends up being one of my favorite franchises. And then I don't know.
I feel like we're going to get a lot of flack for not adding Amnesia Dark Descent anywhere on our list.
Yeah. I haven't played the new Amnesia either. But
where's it? Fatal Flame as well. That's a pretty damn good one that we did not mention.
Well, I only I think ever played one of the Fatal Frames, and I think it was like on Wii or something like that.
Ooh, I didn't even know that came out on the Wii.
It was either Wii or Wii U or something, I forget. But oh, dang. Siren? Did you ever play Siren?
I don't think so.
Dude, those games are pretty crazy. If I'm remembering right, Siren kind of has like a Silent Hill feel to it, which is the siren and stuff too. But you have like this ability, like you play as a crap ton of different characters, like even like a girl with like a dog and stuff. But I'm pretty sure if this is the game I'm thinking of, it's like you can take possession of like certain enemies and stuff in the game too, so you can kind of like make them do something. Like you can use them and then shoot like another enemy if they have like a sniper rifle or something, or like sneak on up with another enemy against them, and that was a pretty cool game. But, yeah, I don't know. I love horror games, but for some reason my knowledge of horror games is just disappearing on me.
Make a script.
Huh?
Make a script. Yeah, that way you don't forget in your time of need.
Yeah. But I don't know about you. I don't know if you have any more honorable mentions or.
Fatal Frame, Amnesia, The Dark Descent. I feel like I'm missing another great classic horror game that a lot of people were like, you didn't mention this one.
Yeah.
You blasphemers. I do want to put Silent Hill 3 on the list because I did enjoy Silent Hill 3 as well. Vatiel is so much cooler in the games than he is in the movie. I mean, granted, everything's cooler in the games than their movies, but
Silent Hill 4 that's The Room?
I believe so, yeah.
I actually really like The Room.
I thought The Room was pretty good as well. I just like Silent Hill 3 more.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that'll do it for this week's podcast. Thank you guys for listening.
Bro, wait! How could we not mention Five Nights at Freddy's?
I remember, I do have an anecdote about Five Nights at Freddy's, and I've never played them because all it is stupid jump scares, the game. But
yeah, I'm not a fan of jump scares.
My niece, my brother and them let her play that game like constantly. So she was then like, she would call us, she lives down in Texas, and she would call us and be like, oh, did you know that these kids really died at this like kids thing, whatever. And we're like, she believes these, like she's like going way down this rabbit hole, and her parents are just like, it's fine. And I'm like, no, she probably needs help. Like she thinks Five Nights at Freddy's is real.
All right, speaking of real, what about Slenderman?
Man, once again, I could do a whole podcast on Slenderman.
The movie or the game?
No,
or the events?
Just the creepypasta of it.
All right, that can be next week's.
Cause like, oh man, like yeah, I do want to talk about it. Cause the thing is, it rocks my brain that something that just people came up with that doesn't exist, not a real thing, could literally even like go and lead to some girls trying to murder their friend. Like it's nuts. Like it's really crazy to me. So,
have you ever heard of organized religion?
Well, yeah, but I mean like that just like a full-on thing that like people even say straight up, this is fake, this is creepypasta, this was like a thing on people trying to make a new urban legend, and then
you want to make our own urban legend.
Yeah.
Ooh. This
It's
part
just
where you look at the camera and wink, promising them that we're gonna do something stupid eventually. That's a solid wink.
I can't wink.
That's a pretty solid wink. I can't wink. Watch this. That's the wrong eye.
Yep.
But all right, before we go, because I brought up Five Nights at Freddy's and our Pokemon series is so popular, which animatronic would you fuck?
I don't even know what they look like.
One's a purple thing, one's a bear. The bear comes in like 5 different costumes and colors because it's the titular character.
I guess Freddy is the bear, right?
Yeah, I think there's a fox because somebody's named Foxy, and I swear to God, if it's not the fox, I'm gonna stab somebody.
And I watch Markiplier every once in a while, and I think he even like named his dog or something, one of them, because he used to play it a bunch. But I don't watch his Five Nights at Freddy's stuff. He did actually do a cool horror game that I don't think I'll ever play. It's called like What is the Game or something like that, or This is the Game. And the reason why I won't do it is because I suck at typing. But it's this really cool game that's like kind of fucked up, but it's like you trying to like figure something out on like the deep web of trying to dig in. So basically the game is you kind of keep having to like watch, like you're at a computer, but you can get up and like move around, and you keep having to like look at your surroundings and stuff because monsters and stuff can like, not really monsters, but like weird people and stuff can come for you. And it's about like listening for things, and then you trying to dig into the deep web and find like and do like hacking, but you actually have to like type out like code and stuff to dig in deeper and deeper. But
isn't there a game you wanted to tell me about? It's like Phantasia.
Oh,
like that.
Yeah.
Come on, I said the name perfectly.
Phasmophobia.
There you go.
Yeah, I actually would really like to play that game. Anybody out there have at least 2 other people that would want to play Phasmophobia with us? That would be actually pretty sick. It's a game where you're basically ghost adventures, our favorite guys from the last podcast that I was talking about.
Zach and Zach coming soon.
And they basically, like, the game is you have to figure out like what the kind of ghost that's in there. You can die from it, but you like use different things like EVP and like temperature, and you can put out like a spirit notebook for the spirit to write in, and by those clues you have to figure out what kind of ghost it is. And
I'm gonna box the spirit.
Box it? Yeah. Do it.
Is there actually an option to do that in the game?
No.
Fuck.
All you can do is you can bring a crucifix with you, and you can like throw it in the ground, or like those like
holy waters.
No, like incense. Stuff,
that's
whatever.
Pretty fucking lame.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw a crucifix at a nigga. Y'all niggas need Jesus. So do I, but different reasons.
And then I was also watching more Ghost Adventures. I forgot about that recently. Just feels like the spoopy season, so I should keep watching it. But it's dumb and funny at the same time. Like, there's apparently this whole lore of this thing called Zozo, and it's like this ancient demonic thing or whatever. And this guy thinks he like summoned it to his house, but use a Ouija board and stuff like that, and it'll just spell it like Zio, 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 and but I'm like, Ouija boards, you can never prove to me that they're real. Like, just, I know, like, tons of people believe in them, but they're just the dumbest thing. Like, always somebody's moving it. Like, there's not a chance somebody's not moving it. So, yeah. Is what it is.
I might be able to get my hands on a Ouija board if you want to do that for an episode.
Can you get a Luigi board? Or a Waluigi board?
I would definitely aim for the Waluigi board.
Okay. That's what we should do. Next time on the Seriousness Podcast, we're getting a Waluigi board.
I wouldn't say next time. I don't know if I can get it for the very next podcast, but I can get one. I can get my hands on one. I know a couple
you
people.
got hookups? Yeah.
I know. I got some hookups.
All right. Well, I think we're over 2 hours now, so going to finally say goodbye. I'm not going to let you stop us.
We're going to do an outro? Like,
I don't know. Do we do an outro before?
I think we did for the first one.
All right, well...
Look at me stopping us already.
My name's Andy.
I'm your favorite sad boy TikToker, Jay.
Yeah, and we dab on them ghosts, and they ain't got nothing on us. This has been the Seriousness Podcast.
I've just really added the sad to my boy.
See ya.